They gave up a bunch of points. You referenced two big plays. They were blown coverages. John Johnson, the safety, the guy the Browns kind of brought in to oversee that back half, talked about those big plays and what went on with them.
We just had some busts, guys. We weren't really doing our job. We probably, the first half of the snap, we thought we were doing our job. The play kind of went on. Those were long plays, and I feel like we just didn't get our depth and finish the play. And like you said, guys were just wide open. So we got to get on the tape and make some changes and fix the stuff like that.
Mike Williams had two deep touchdowns off those. And the first one was Grant and A.J. Green, obviously, a miscommunication. The second one, nobody was there. You threw your hands in the air. What happened on that one? What was supposed to happen?
It was a split safety concept, and there's supposed to be somebody back there between the corner and the safety. And I feel like we just had two guys on a shallow route, and that was like a deep route. So it kind of just was a bust. And I didn't even, usually I check to make sure I got a guy just in case I got to squeeze it. But I kind of trusted that somebody would be there. And I don't know what happened. I got to get on the tape. But, in split safety, it's supposed to be somebody back there. So we just got to get on the tape and fix it.
You guys have been playing so well on defense heading into this. How do you kind of explain some of the breakdowns like you're talking about now?
It's hard to explain. I mean, those plays are plays that we make in our sleep just from guys being there. It's not like, it was 50-50 balls, and it's just busts, real complete busts. So, I mean, it's hard to explain. You just got to go to the tape and just see where we went wrong and trust our technique and move on from it.
And, Scott, when you look at it, you alluded to it, sometimes there were the fourth and fifth corners that are playing. When you literally talk about it, Greg Newsome's out, so your second corner's out. I think Denzel Ward played 12 snaps. Greedy Williams had to leave. That brings you down to your fourth and fifth cornerbacks.
Yeah, it does. And I think that explained some of the success Justin Herbert had. It made it easier for him. But when you look at those two busted plays that John Johnson III was just talking about, I don't blame the corners on either of those. Grant Delpit, it felt like he went down on that first one. A.J. Green was expecting safety help, and Delpit took the under route and let him run free. I think that was a Delpit mistake. And then the second one that Johnson said it's a split safety coverage. He thought Ronnie Harrison was going to be deep on the defensive right side of the field. And instead, Harrison kind of came up for a guy running a crossing route. And Johnson, you could tell that he expected somebody to be there because the way he was playing Mike Williams, his leverage was all forcing him that way. He was worried about him running to the other corner, and instead he cuts across the field. So, Harrison is a starter. Delpit's playing a bunch, and those safeties have been out there together. So for it to break down then, I can't blame the injuries. I just blame those guys and a lack of communication, but it sure bit them.
Yeah, and when you say those three names in context with them, communication at this point, week 5 shouldn't really be an issue. If it is, there's going to be some other things that they need to work through. Kevin Stefanski, again, addressed that very issue of the blown coverages. Here's what Kevin Stefanski had to say earlier today.
Well, obviously, when guys get that open, the answer is it's always a miscommunication, and that's what happened. We had poor communication out there a couple times. We got to get lined up, get the calls, and execute the defense. And unfortunately, you never know when it's going to hurt you. And it was unfortunate that we had some miscommunication back there, and we got to work real hard to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and that's something we didn't see much of. Even against Kansas City, you didn't see the completely blown coverages like you did twice in that game.
Yeah, not like that. I think there might have been a couple smaller ones. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, miscommunication, every coach and every player says that now. It's become kind of what you throw out as an explanation. And I'm not saying that's not part of it at all, but I also think, maybe Ronnie Harrison's gambling there. He says he sees Herbert rolling right, sees the guy crossing, thinks that's the right play to make. But you have to remember that Justin Herbert's got a huge arm. He pulled up and he was able to throw the ball, whatever it was, 50 yards back across the field on that second touchdown. So, maybe it's a little bit of both where John Johnson thinks his guy's going to be there, so he plays it differently. But Harrison's kind of, trying to take something upon himself that he shouldn't have.